Make you big. Awesome.
Okay. We just need to get the other...
The Twitch TV?
Well, almost.
It's device administrator. Okay, and then you have to broadcast, or we're broadcasting?
Yeah, we just want to bring the Twitch TV website back up.
Okay. Hello. Oops. Okay. Hello. Oops. Yes. Okay. Hello. And I think we want to hear ourselves. We'll get an infinite loop, and that would be bad. And I think we want to hear ourselves. We'll get an infinite loop, and that would be bad. And I think we want to hear ourselves. We'll get an infinite loop, and that would be bad. Okay, so I've now confused it. We're dancing around. Okay, so I've now confused it. We're dancing around. Okay, so I've now confused it. What's making you laugh, Mike Brown? I've now confused it. What's making you laugh, Mike Brown? Okay. What's making you laugh, Mike Brown? Okay. It shouldn't anymore. Okay. It shouldn't anymore. Are you still echoing? It shouldn't anymore. Are you still echoing? Okay, so somehow it's still...
Can you turn the audio off on the website, that website?
Okay, so somehow it's still... Can you turn the audio off on the website?
That scroll down a little.
Okay, so somehow it's still... Can you turn the audio off on the website?
Scroll down a little.
Oh, that's
okay.
Because it was...
Now we're good, right?
It was sending itself.
Echo is gone. Phew. Okay, and I'm going right into a light, which is just awesome, so that's not so great. Let's see how we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to move the camera.
You getting up? Did you adjust the camera so I turn off the light?
You can turn off the light. That's fine.
You want the other light? Try the other one on.
Yeah, the...
Which other one?
Well,
there were two.
Works.
So. Oh, that one is the one that was helping people. Ah.
That's okay.
Can we see? Help?
Yes. No, it's... Hi, everybody. We're finally live. Only 35 minutes late. Well, there you go. First off, we want to say thank you so very much for backing the Defense Grid 2 Kickstarter, $271,721, almost 6,300 backers. Pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
And
oh, you can't see the chat.
No, I put the mouse there. I can now we can see the chat. Squeaky camera. Hopefully not anymore. Okay, audio clipping. Nudge down a smidge, he says. So they're giving us all this feedback. Okay, so if we do that, then maybe. How are we doing now with the audio?
Hey, Deadeye.
Hello, devs. Okay, we're good. We're good. We only, needed 35 minutes to get ready.
What is the delay? It's like 5 seconds?
It's about 5 seconds, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, yes, fashionably late. It's like a concert. I never understood why they always wait so long for you in the concerts. But anyway, thank you guys so very much. We're really excited, and the next phase we start here after this is getting the forums, the private forums up, and making sure that everyone can be able to communicate and keep this conversation going and bring everyone together. And then, there's been suggestions to keep the weekly contest going. I don't know that we have any prizes for the weekly contest, but we definitely have the ability to update and change the leaderboards and be able to make it so that people can do that. So we'll keep doing that because it'll take a little bit of setup, but I think we want to keep you guys all going together. I don't know. What do you guys want to say?
I just think this is so exciting. Thank you guys so much for helping us reach the goal.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting started.
Yeah, and I actually hope that we can, it's been a lot of fun meeting you guys and talking with you, and I hope that we can continue that. That's what I'm excited
I think that's been the most exciting thing about this whole thing is this idea of of taking a company from a model that many game companies have, where you work on stuff, keep it secret, you then put it out, and you start trying to talk with people. But we're going to try and talk really early, and there's going to be some scary uncomfortableness because we're not used to that. But there's also going to be some really exciting opportunities because of the getting your feedback early, getting you involved, hearing what you guys have to say, and letting you in on the development process. And we're really excited to start that.
I have a theory that Beat Darwin is a game dev.
Yeah, I have such a theory as well.
Just after his comments.
I think it's been really fun interacting with everybody, hearing their ideas for the game, just having you involved with where we're going to go. It just makes it a super exciting place for us all to be. The whole company, you'll hear from people, like we've been watching as the Kickstarter goes. Everybody's excited about your comments. It feels like we're really connected with our audience, and it's been exciting and a huge morale boost for everybody just to see people that love the game, still enjoy the game, and are involved in making the future of the game.
Kiev, and just to answer your question, our plan, I think, is to turn it into what the credits will look like for DG2 and then post it under a new community tab off the main menu. And then that way everybody can check to make sure they're in the right place and the name is correct and things like that. And they'll give us a lot of time to iterate on it, because that's probably the longest thing that takes with credits, is just trying to make sure you get everything right, all the names right, and everybody covered.
No, but it is a good time because there's lots of stuff that's going to be happening. The video cards are already in transit to our shipping facility. We're going to talk with the mice folks, get those there. We need to start getting shirt ideas in front of the shirt people and start figuring out what we're going to make on the shirts. We've got to lock down poster plans.
Containment.
There's this little extra content containment. Actually, that unfortunately I feel pretty good about. I know exactly where we're going to start there. But there's all these pieces that we want to work on with you guys, and so starts right away.
So to answer some Coot's question,
yeah,
we're answering questions.
Please.
So what we're planning, since we didn't actually get all the financing to immediately jump into the level editor, is to actually release the level previewer, which is the tool we use for making levels for DG1. And then we'll release that to the community and kind of get you can submit your level ideas and kind of what you would like to see, and we'll factor that into what we do for DG containment. Jeff is coming back. We're just all juggling chairs. Actually, he's probably more photogenic than me.
No.
I see myself on camera and like I'm balding and that.
It doesn't get better.
Are there questions coming in?
What are the other
Yeah, if you had to choose between map editor or co-op play. Actually, in all fairness, I think we'd probably start with co-op play because it gets the story out there more. It's kind of like what people have been talking about a lot, and map editor is more how you keep, once everybody's played through the initial content, how you keep the game going and how you keep everybody engaged. And I think that, so what we'd probably do is if we had to do this on a release schedule, like a staggered release as we get funding, we would probably start with co-op and do editor later, though plans change all the time and it depends on what happens.
And we can involve you guys, too, in that discussion.
Oh, absolutely. This is what user voice is going to be for.
Right. That's what I was going to say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
Hot chair.
Nathan, we actually talked about all kinds of plans on how to do Kickstarter correctly. It was hard. There's already was starting to be Kickstarter fatigue about the time we were going to launch. And there's so many decisions that go into it, like how do we do the right thing? How do we actually make sure that we get the financing we need and not overpromise and then not be able to deliver on it? And so we kind of made our best guess, but I think that we learned so much about how to do Kickstarters from this, since it was kind of an experiment for us too.
I think, Jeff, is it announced that you're going to be doing a talk on the Kickstarter at PAX?
Well, it's PAX Dev.
PAX Dev.
So it's not going to be public.
Not the public.
But yeah, I will be. And you know what? I actually don't have a problem with what we're saying being public. So the other way, Michael.
Oh, yeah. It's just delayed.
But anyway, we'll...
Sorry.
Okay.
We'll put up our slides, I think. I don't have a problem sharing with you all the data that we learned and everything that we've picked up. It'll be kind of, really interesting to look at this just after it's over and see what kinds of things we've learned. I think the thing that we're finding that is most important, that we're excited about now, is being able to get the word out when you want to, introduce a new game, start a Kickstarter, whatever it is, being able to talk to the audience and say, hey, here it is, and we get to start with you guys. You guys get to be that first group of people who help, us figure stuff out, and then as we release other games, we release more Defense Grid, we're going to grow that group over time, and you guys can help start our community, really.
So there's two questions here. One is, when is the DG1 soundtrack available? And the other is, what did we learn about Kickstarter? And I think Jeff should hot seat it for the Kickstarter.
There you go. Go for it.
Okay, let's spread it out and make it, because that way we aren't so giant and small.
Giant
Actually, we just back up a little bit.
Chinese fire drill.
Yeah, there we go. Does that work?
Yeah.
Woohoo! Kind of off. There we go. So let's see. The first one was soundtrack. I think what we're going to do is I'm going to go back to Dwayne and see if we can get a higher resolution version, audio version of the soundtrack. He has some of the pieces posted, but I think we're going to take it together, get some work on it, and put it into a really nice package for you. And I expect that to take a few weeks, would be my guess.
Do you think we should include the TJ's DG2 hero theme as part of the soundtrack?
I'm pretty sure. There's been even requests for that the moment it came out.
Yep.
I just wanted to see if they wanted it.
Do you want that? Yes. There you go.
Let's see, any...
We're squinting. It's far away.
Yeah, sorry, we're...
So there was that. What did we learn from the Kickstarter? Yeah, we ought to be able to.
Let's see, if I hold this now... Oh yeah, we can do this.
We're going to...
Real-time broadcast.
Nope, it doesn't.
Doesn't grow.
Oh, there's little settings here, so... more settings. Oh, crap. Let's see. No, I can't figure out how to do it. I think we need to lower the resolution. It doesn't seem to...
It's okay.
Full squint.
Oh.
That technical interrupt was to see if we could get the questions bigger so we could read them and be this far away.
We'll still do this.
Yes.
Let's see. Map editor, Steam Workshop. Yes, that's definitely the plan.
That's how informal this is.
Well, as I think I've said, I think we're pretty good game developers. I think we're first-time Kickstarters, and clearly
we're not PR people.
We're not great web chat folks. No,
we all had to develop our on-camera personality a bit for this.
Except for me, I've been able to maintain anonymous, disembodied voice until now.
By the way, Dave is the one who's done pretty much like art for like 90% of the Defense Grid levels, I think.
Yeah.
And he's our art director, so he was kind of doing it on the weekends while we were developing the game because it was self-funded.
Yeah.
Well, small business. That's the way it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's see. I got to look around the camera to
This
see
is
next step. Acting school. Let's hope not. Let's hope not.
Master thespian.
Yeah. I think we'll definitely be engaging you guys a lot on chat, a lot on blogs.
It's Dave's nice work, awesome visuals.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and none of us knew about the snowman and the locomotive until this thing.
That's true. We didn't even know about the Easter egg.
It was a surprise all around.
So, will there be DLC for DG2? I'm sure there will be, but we don't even start thinking about that until after DG2. That's like long time in the future.
One of the things that happens a lot in the game industry, and I think this often gets a bad rap, but it's true that you have typically you have a lot of people working on the features of a game, and then you have the people making the content to use those features, and they start get going, and they get rolling, and then it becomes time to ship the game, and you lock down the content, you go off, and you solve all the different problems, the certification problems and everything, and the content people are sitting there going, I want to make more levels. So they do, and they often, that often becomes DLC. And so as you're finishing the game on one side, you're often making the next amount of content for downloadable content on the other side.
Right.
And sometimes people release it as soon as they're done, which is often looks like day one DLC, because that content team kept working while it took a while to finish the rest of the product. And I know that day one DLC gets a lot of bad rap. So
well, part of it too is when you do or on a console, you have to have like the entire game finished, a month ahead of time.
Well,
2 months.
2 months, yeah.
2 months ahead of time, and DLC you can drop in like in a week. So you have to have a game done 2 months ago for a launch date in the future, and by the time you get there, the DLC can go through really fast.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just the
Way
DLC
more than
story.
I asked.
Big tangent. Yeah.
Somebody was asking design for containment, and will containment be a separate game or just 8 levels be added to Awakening?
The current plan right now is that we're going to use the same tools and for the first game to add it to the first game, because that's the way we can get it to you for December.
Yeah.
If we decided to do it completely differently, then we'd have to change the end date.
Yes.
And I think sticking with it for December is something that everyone knows they got for pledging, and just being a very sure thing has great value.
We have been talking, though, about like doing some cool kind of updates to it, and we'll use user voice to talk with you guys about that.
Yeah, there'll be some small things we can do to change the code, and maybe, because you don't want to spend too much time on the first game when you want to be spending all your time on the second. So it's just a balancing act of what can get you guys the best for the amount that you've given us.
I think we're really looking forward to the user voice dialogue continuing, that you'll have a seat at the design table just like any of the founders, just like our employees when we say, what are the features that are priority to us? I mean, you are our core audience, you're our backers. We're definitely going to take all that into account, just like you were sitting at the table with us during a design session, during a planning session, to go, okay, what should our priorities be?
Yeah, and I think half the time we're saying, well, I personally like this, and I think this would be what the community would want. And now we don't have to say that anymore. We can say, what does the community want?
And we will. We'll ask you.
So our friend that we've actually met in person, Moon Manabe,
yes,
he came up with to the portal to
yes.
launch party with us. Asks if, with how this is all worked out, do you have any idea it'll be before DG2 happens?
So I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. I'm on the phone. I'm talking with some people. So Defense Grid 2 is close to a $2 million game. We have about, with what you've raised, about 1.25. And I'm talking with some other people about trying to get that 500 to 750K that we weren't able to raise with the Defense Grid 2. If we can do that over the next few months, then I think we dive right into DG2, and DG2 looks like it's a year to a year and a quarter schedule. So when that exactly starts, does it start 3 months from now, and then a year and a quarter past that, so it's a year and a half from now? That would be the way that would happen. If for some reason we just can't get anyone to fill that gap, then I think what you'll see us do is do containment for sure. We have another game that we haven't been talking about that will start making noise, I'm going to say in the spring. Maybe earlier, but spring is probably the safest. And if that gets released, and if people really like that, and it makes us money, then some of that money will go into DG2, and then DG2 will pick up. So I think it will be within 2 years, but a bunch of things have to happen to make it happen within 2 years.
I think all of the, since we're an indie developer, if we're profitable in any other area, we'll want to fund our own projects.
Yeah.
So our money will prioritize it. Things that benefit all of our projects, like doing shared technology, things like that, help everything. So anywhere we invest in our own tools and our own pipelines, that helps get Defense Grid 2 kicked off.
That's true. The other project, just by its nature of getting done,
will run on
they
both will run on the same engine. So
if we do things with Steamworks, if we do things in any other area that we can, we're simultaneously making features for DG2, we always prioritize those out.
I can't read that. Sprudy says, want some local volunteer labor for playtests, actually.
Well, I was going to say, I think we're going to be able, I'm hoping as we get going farther that we're going to be able to use the Steam beta feature so we can get playtesting help, regardless of where you are in the world. That's kind of been the plan. And what we've talked about with the different backers was having an early group that is kind of smaller, that gets some stuff even when it's a little more raw, and then a larger group, everybody that's a backer, when being part of a beta before it ever goes out to reality. So
Well, he didn't qualify what the labor is. Maybe
No, that's true.
I'm a 3D artist and I work at Hidden Path.
Dave, how do you want to handle that?
If you send your portfolio to info.
Yep.
Yeah.
I look at the stuff that comes in, and the fact is that a few people have sent us material, and I've certainly had conversations with them. So send it to it. Mention that you talked to us online. That will be that'll be like dropping your name. So
yeah,
and we'll take a look.
I would say right now, currently we only have one position open for the company, which is an associate producer, and we've received a large number of applications, so we're going to be going through those and contacting people for interviews here soon. But we often get people saying, hey, I'm a programmer, hey, I'm an artist, hey, I'm an audio person, is there a role for me? And at the moment, there is no spot, but things change, so you can always contact us and find out.
And candidates we usually add to our networks, so when there's a job position posted, you know right away.
Grimman asks if we have wheels on our desk like Valve, and the answer is yes. We actually rearrange all the time. Everybody, our tester just looked over. Our test lead.
Hey, I'm going to try something dangerous. Here we go.
Yeah, he does not have wheels on his desk. And
No, okay, so let's
but
see.
most people do.
So there's one pod, there's another pod, and then there's
There's a room with
our
lots of
test
people.
guys. And I'm calling these pods as places where groups work. Okay, there's another group around back there, and then there's another group that works down around that corner. And anyway, we'll come right back. So you've pretty much seen the entire office. Enjoy. Let's
Except
see.
for the kitchen, and you don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Afraid everybody
Oh,
wants-
we can go see the Defense Grid.
Defense Grid,
I don't think
yeah.
the cable's not quite long enough.
Should we roll it in here?
No.
Just kidding.
No, but anyway, basically there's a groups of people working in different areas, and what that allows us to do is mix programmers, artists, designers, and producers all in the same area if they're working on the same thing, and then when someone else is going to work on something, they then move. And we don't have every desk on wheels yet because we don't have the money to change out all the desks, but we slowly are replacing desks with ones that have wheels on them.
When desks fall apart or are inadvertently destroyed.
There he is, the man with
we
a
go.
shoe on his head.
I just thought I'd walk by with my shoe on my head.
You can't block him, Michael.
Just lean up
Oh.
and going.
Yeah.
Up in the top. There you go.
It is.
We have about 35 people, but the DG team is much smaller. Let's see.
Did you have a shoe on your head for some of the 24 hours?
I had to wait for your shoes.
First beta.
Right when we hit 180K, I put a shoe on my head. I thought I'd celebrate by another shoe on my head.
The other shoe is
This is the other shoe.
The other shoe
This
dropped
is
up.
not the-
That's right.
The other shoe dropped.
Asking about defense fridge magnets.
Yeah, someone on the forums came up with this idea of fridge magnets that have the Defense Fridge logo. So I think what we might do with things like this, because we're not in the business of manufacturing a lot of stuff, but the idea of taking some artwork and putting it on a place where you could buy them off of that place, like a cafe press for shirts, maybe there's a cafe press of fridge magnets, I don't know.
If you know of one,
Yes, if you know of one, let us know.
Drop us a comment and an email.
But yeah, we can definitely make that available. There's no reason not to.
Ferris says, he throws money in the screen. Somebody earlier had asked if there was a way to donate past the Kickstarter thing, and we've been looking at it, but
We've been looking
PayPal
at
is tough.
Yeah, so something came up when we started talking with PayPal. Hey, Brian.
My mother's watching, so I had to come over.
Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you, Brian's mom. I saw your name on the backers, and I thought, wow.
Brian,
Oh, my gosh.
Brian's one of our awesome artists.
Yes, Brian is a great 3D artist.
Yeah.
Sit,
No,
sure.
go for it.
Sit.
Look, the art director got up. Here's your chance to take it.
Bring your shoe. Come sit in a chair.
Actually, we'll hot seat. We'll bring everyone in.
And I'll just stand behind you to make sure you don't say anything bad about the art director.
But let's see. Question, do you plan on running a second Kickstarter? So the honest answer, that's just way too funny.
I know.
No, I don't think we plan on running a second Kickstarter for this game. And the reason is, wow, really? All of you? I'm not jumping in.
I know
I'm
you're
just
not.
Yeah.
Jeff is the mature one.
What was the peer pressure?
Not wearing any shoes.
But I think
was wearing a shoe.
I think we've been.
We don't pay him enough to buy shoes. Sorry, Mom.
We don't want to try and get more money out of you guys. We think you guys have already been extremely generous. I think what we want to do is use the opportunity you've given us to help fill the gap and help get there. If we do another Kickstarter, it'll probably be for a completely different game.
Can't we get around the PayPal pre-order restriction by selling expensive fridge magnets?
So to answer the question fully, I think we're going to have a site up. I think we're going to let people, we'll have to make it so that people can, adjust and fix their pledges if we didn't get all the right money and everything right. And
That's all right, I'll get rid of this shoe.
No, it's okay.
We'll leave it.
and then
Solidarity.
we may be able to make it so that other people can join. So we have no reason to keep people out.
My head doesn't work that way.
It's a little late, so sorry to ask for backers who have access to beta releases. When do you think the first beta will be available? I'm going to guess late October, early November for a containment beta.
Oh, for containment beta. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's a guess. It's
I
totally a
actually
guess.
think-
As soon
Yeah, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
To be honest, we plan on showing level layouts and things like that for those who want to participate. I assume that anybody who wants it to be a surprise can kind of stay out of that section of the forum, but we plan on sharing a lot of information and getting kind of feedback on what game modes, new game modes that can be done, anything like that.
Yeah.
I think we really
When the shoe drops. Sorry.
we really take it seriously that you are our backers. I mean, just like if we were working with a publishing partner, we would share our things, even unfinished, partway along the way, and get feedback and get a stream of ideas going. We'll do that with you. You are part of our creative process.
And the other thing too is if you want, we can keep more of the story kind of secret, so that there's some surprise when you play. If you want to participate in kind of what kind of levels we make, we'll find some way to let people have as much interaction as they want.
Yeah, I think the Lightning wants to know, why would you release
The game for everyone
and
for
remove
beta.
it when it releases? Well, by the time, so you got it's not like it's going to be done and then we'll release it as a beta. When you do a beta, you're really trying to figure out if something's working or not. So
Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Is this fun? Is this not
yeah,
fun?
so you're going to see us test a lot of things and maybe not put out the whole thing, but you're going to get it when it's done. I think we're going to, like Michael was saying, try and balance get your feedback and input, balance that with, here's the final product and you can enjoy it like you would enjoy the final product.
Would this be able to include beta access to the other game too?
It's something we've talked about.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys being a backer. I don't want to make any promises with respect to the other game because it's a whole other thing, and it's
other game.
Yeah.
well, but it's different content. It's different.
Everything.
It's very different.
Yeah.
So, but
We're gonna go with you, our friends and backers.
Yes.
Before we go
That's true. Before we get anybody.
Yes. I think that's the perfect way. Is when we decide we want to have people get feedback on any game that we can do, who do you think we would turn to first, right? I mean, this crew. So, yeah.
And to be honest, the beta for containment probably will not be, here's all the levels of containments in the voice, give us feedback on it. It'll probably be, here's a level design, here's kind of how it plays.
Do you like this mob setting?
Yeah, do you like this mob setting? Here, try out this map and, be unarted or something like that. So how exactly that'll work, it may even be like one level at a time. We haven't done this before, so we're not sure how much it'll entail.
But I think what we're thinking about is that we do a bunch of stuff, and then we have other people in the office play it and say, what do you think? And is that too hard? Is it too easy? What do you think? And we get to now say, what do you think, 6,000 group of people? We're going to have much better ability to vote back on, oh, no, this one's too hard, or no, I don't like it. I liked it up for the first 20 waves, but that 22nd wave really was awful, or all that kind of feedback. That's what we'll be looking for.
Extra noise, that's actually one of our 3 or 4 points for DG2, is moving parts to the maps.
Yeah. Yeah, movement, dynamic movement. Co-op,
multiplayer, level editing, and
level editor.
the item system.
Yeah, 4 things.
That's
I feel like I've really added to this conversation.
I do too. The shoe alone is added.
I'm like a wealth of information here.
He's still recovering from the
Well, Brian,
24-hour
basically,
thing.
because he's on camera, he's going to have to work on this one, right?
Forums. We're still need to get a little bit of sleep, and then we'll start looking at the forums. It'll probably be a week or two.
Yeah, what's going to happen is we have the existing forums on hiddenpath.com, and we'll create a private forum section there, and we'll try and tie that into user voice, and we'll get that all set up and running, and then we'll bring you in on it.
Ask me how many hours this weekend I was spent on DG2 Hero, and then
No,
we'll
ask
have
your wife.
Ask my wife.
She will not give you a flattering answer.
What? Gremlin lies.
He said on Twitter
He said I'm craving more.
Yes.
I need more Defense Grid, right?
Exactly. Yeah, what we find is that the less sleep we have, the less sense we make.
That is true.
Good question.
And the more shoes we put on our heads.
Lex!
Lex, this man right here is going to be heavily responsible for containment.
He's the art lead.
Oh, you top.
You look at the top one.
The delay.
Yeah.
Hey, hi, everybody.
It's 5 seconds later.
Come get me, Lex.
Yeah.
Yeah, sit.
Yeah.
Where's Twig? I'll go get Twig.
Okay, let's see.
Edition.
We just talk?
The people
Yeah, well, they're asking questions.
There's something,
They asked
the question, oh, it scrolled off. How do I do, I scrolled this up. Co-op equals teamwork. Any plans for a versus mode? Yeah, we actually have plans for both versus and co-op. We'll probably start with co-op just because the game itself, without fundamentally being changed, can support co-op. But we have a lot of ideas for versus modes. We just don't know exactly what's going to be the most fun. Though now, since we released Defense Grid, there are a lot of great examples to draw from out there of other tower defense games that have done good versus modes.
No.
Well, do we need to move it back a little bit more?
Off camera.
Are you just standing there?
Yeah.
There you go.
We can, or we just. Oh, you're gonna scoot it back. Okay. Co-op seems lame. Two people placing towers at the same time is not just what co-op can be. Co-op can be where you have your own resources and you're, semi-competing for a common goal. Co-op can be you playing with your kid or your friend across the network, and like maybe you put down gun and cannon towers and they put down temporal and command, kind of like Soul Survivor did. There's all kinds of different ways we can do co-op, and we definitely will beta test them and put it on user voice and kind of see what's the most fun.
So let's do quick introductions. On the end is Matt Johnson, otherwise often known as Twig 31415 Thank you. I only know my PIDA so far. Programmer on the project. Then there's Lex Story, a key artist for pretty much all the containment levels I'm expecting, right?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right. I didn't even think about it that way. And doing a lot of the concept that people saw on the earlier, speed concepting sessions. Yeah.
And then Michael, and then this
Echo.
is John, and John is a designer, and he'll be designing a lot of the levels for containment as well. So this is kind of your main group right here for containment.
And John's did all of the Borderlands DLC, which we've been featuring a lot the last couple of weeks.
And lots of the challenge modes.
And a lot of the challenge modes across everything.
There's room, Mark.
In fact, didn't you do most of the challenge modes?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I think you did. I think he did most of the challenge modes.
On the original
It's his fault.
Yeah.
Well, you did a bunch too.
for
Okay,
resurgence,
we don't really have like the challenge mode person, but John did a lot of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Okay, I can read them to you
Oh,
guys.
thank you. Jeff is going to read.
So, I can't believe they still call Twig Twig. Twig, why do people call you Twig?
Because I'm skinny.
Have you seen this?
No, but, it's not just that. It's
Hey,
because it's what
rotate
you,
in front of the
it's what you
camera.
prefer, right?
I don't really care.
Oh, well, as soon as we know
To be
about
honest,
Twig.
it's because he's the second Matt, and
Oh,
so he said, "What do you go by other than Matt?" And he goes,
Twig.
"Twig."
Yeah.
You can stand and twirl if you want.
Okay. I'm twirling with it.
Are you keeping the DLC challenges you had on Kickstarter on DS1? I assume he means Defense Grid 1.
We're not going to take anything away. Are you talking about the mini games or the?
I think both, right? Let's talk about both.
The new modes will stay.
Yeah. Now, Johnny Hydro had the shoe on his head for a bit. That's Dev Gamer. That's who it was. Okay,
Yeah.
I see. Idea, one tower resource player against player, and you only have to take it in turns to place the towers. There's some modes like that.
Yeah,
That was...
like I said, we'll probably list all of our ideas and get feedback on them, and we have a lot of them. Because it's been a couple years since we designed the multiplayer, I have to go back and see where we were. But we had lots and lots of great ideas.
We set up user voice for people to put their own ideas and vote.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
User voice, so people can put up their own ideas and vote on them. We keep referring to user voice. I don't know if you guys know what it is, but it basically is a web thing where people can make suggestions and then vote on other people's suggestions, and the ones that get the most votes rise to the top.
So Kevin wants to know if we're still, he actually was saying, how are we going to replace the DG1 on the new engine? But that's not currently part of the plan.
Because we didn't actually make it that far on Kickstarter, our plan may be just to go straight to DG2 and not have the intermediate goals at the moment.
Let's see.
We still have to talk about it a little bit first.
Shoe fell off.
Shoe fell off. mini games. People want to know mini games as well as the new modes.
Yeah, there's co-op high score on the same mode. I think a lot of co-op too is just the social experience of it. So even if you're doing, like, you want to be able to talk to people and play with them and have a good time, and that's the real focus of co-op.
Availaman wants to know, why are you out here talking and not making my game?
I was just over at my desk making a game.
I am working on it right now.
It's just an hour. We got
23
left to bill.
We'll stay an extra hour tonight to make it up, okay?
Any plans to add Grinder, Super Grinder to Height of Confusion? That map is begging
There's
for
a
it.
story about that, and the reason why we don't have Grinder, Super Grinder on Height of Confusion is because it would have taken down the Xbox. However, on the PC, we don't have that same restriction, and so there still might be something we can do about that.
Yeah, I think the only reason we didn't do it during the Kickstarter was because not everyone would have it.
We should, oh yeah, we can't add DLC. We can't add...
We can on PC.
Well, can we add in modes to other DLC from the...
Ooh, that's messy.
However, we could update...
Just update the DLC.
We can update the DLC for it.
DLC.
Yeah.
You're already in on a design session.
That was live. That was a real, how the decision gets made.
Let's see. DG2 on the iPad. Speaking of adding modes, going to fix the modes limit for DG2. Yes, we're going to change how modes work to make them even more visible. I don't know if you guys are aware that we already redesigned it once because people didn't even know that there was challenge modes in the game. And it's much more obvious now, but I do want to have a scrolling list or some way of actually doing more challenge modes.
There's only a mode limit because we were lazy and didn't do a scrolling list.
Yeah.
No, it's because we were efficient with our time.
No, I didn't want to do a scrolling list because to me they're complex in terms of the interface.
It
Actually,
is.
one thing that...
And people don't know that they can scroll them,
Yeah,
so they wouldn't see it
exactly.
anyways. Yeah.
One thing that Twig and John worked quite a bit on that you guys might not even know about is that your Defense Grid 1 on Steam right now completely supports touch. So if you have a touchscreen Windows machine or a touch tablet that's Windows or one of the new Ultrabooks that are coming out, you can actually play Defense Grid with a touch interface, and it's in the version that you have right now. On Android it did.
Okay.
Yeah, and on Android on Live, which is what Michael was asking me, if that was there, and it is there as well.
So you could actually play it on an Android tablet through on Live at the moment. If you put this on an Apple computer or iPad, can you have Apple cores? Yeah, cute.
Trademark.
Please make sure Meteor Tower. So Meteor Towers, we actually will probably change the design of Meteor Towers for DG2. They're one of the most calculation-intensive things because they actually go through an arc, checking for line of sight into the future to make sure that they can hit an alien where it will be at the time. And that actually ended up costing a lot of CPU. I think what we'll probably do is change the Meteor Tower so that they launch up into the air and kind of go away, and then they drop down on their target, and that should make a huge difference. As it is, actually, when the Meteor Towers launch at an enemy, even if the graphic doesn't hit them, they will always hit at least that enemy that they were targeting, even if the splash damage is local to where the effect hits.
The one thing that shows up sometimes is when they're targeting an enemy that dies before it gets there.
Yes.
That's when it looks like they missed.
It looks like they missed because the enemy died, and it takes so long for those to go through the air. I can't afford a touchscreen, just gave all my money to you guys.
Have Twig code Meteor Towers in assembly language. That will make everything better, right?
Well, the problem is with the Meteor Towers is that we take all of the pathing for all the aliens, you know how they jostle each other, and we actually forward the simulation in time to see where they will be in the 2.5 seconds or whatever it is that it takes the meteor to launch. And then we do line of sight to them, and if it can't do it to that alien, it goes to another alien, fast forwards in time. We have some optimizations for that, but even the arced path, doing the collision checks on it is kind of crazy. But I think that the straight up and straight down will look cooler and more powerful and work better.
And we'd rather do that than limit how many Meteor Towers people could build.
Or half the meteor.
They've Doctor Who tangented.
It's almost as if they haven't had sleep for 24 hours.
It is. We're into Meteor Towers, Time Lords, and bigger on the inside right
There's
now.
always one Time Lord left.
Yes.
Right.
That's what keeps time going.
What would happen? No, maybe.
They don't tell you that in the show.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about kind of more, I think we missed some questions, so if we missed your question, just ask it again. Things are kind of scrolling fast, and we're going as fast as we can. Oh, Tesla towers seem to be underused. Do you have plans to change them for DG2? So we updated the Tesla last year to do double damage to shields, which really we should have done from the very beginning. And in most tests, they actually greatly outperform gun towers. The gun towers are more flexible and get the flyers, which is why I think they're still used a lot. But I actually feel like Tesla towers are in a pretty good spot right now. However, for DG2, we plan on collecting a lot more metrics and actually tweaking even more than we have already.
And there might be some tower surprises in DG2 coming, which will change the balance.
Oh, absolutely. We are definitely going to have different set of towers, too.
Oatmeal asks when the new forums are going live. And basically, as soon as this is done, I get on the phone to the folks who do our web stuff, and we'll start seeing if we can get them going. So it's as fast as we can get them to do the development.
In before, go Jeff, go now.
Yeah, I know.
Tower. A tower that makes 2 tower spots.
You saw that concept art. Who did that?
That's cool.
Brian.
Was that Brian?
Brian, the
The giant tower that comes and makes a big gun off of 2 tower spots. I
Any
love that.
plans for additional aliens or towers?
I don't think we'll
containment?
add any more towers in containment just because of kind of how we did the original game, but we're looking at some new alien stuff. But I don't know how it'll actually turn out. We haven't even started thinking about that yet. We have kind of the story arc, but we haven't started any
I
design
have
yet.
like lots of half-baked things that
Yeah.
we said, hey, here's an idea, let's put something in, but we haven't figured out exactly what's going to make the cut.
One of the goals for the original game was to have kind of every alien have a visible purpose, and so designing new aliens, actually we want to stay with that same
I
kind
just want
of
you to be aware.
level of polish, and so I think that that's part of what we want to consider as well.
So somebody said, I missed the beginning, can you start over? Is there, after
It should be
this is done, can they play from the beginning?
Yes.
down below, yeah, I think that there's a...
Once it's done, you should be able to play a replay as long as we stay under 2 hours.
Will Containment have new game modes? I would say absolutely. I think that's one of the things we'll put up on User Voice and get people's opinions on. We've had lots of ideas for game modes, and I'm sure you guys do as well.
What about the contest this week, Michael?
Oh, I don't have all the winners yet.
No, I know. I didn't.
Oh.
Normally we get it together in the evening and we get it all ready and we do our little show with our notes.
Yeah.
You're seeing what happens when we have no notes.
Yes.
But we'll put it out up on the. I think we can still post on the forums on
You can
Kickstarter.
I still get updates like months later. So
Yeah, so we'll send out an update with who won, all of them except the DG Hero, which still is open until tomorrow.
And in fact, actually, we could just do them all tomorrow, or do you think?
I think since we told them that they would be done by today,
Okay.
we should do it today.
I'm trying to save work.
Yes.
So I can focus on DG2 instead of going and making contest winner postings. Is there any chance you'll do more Kickstarter? I misunderstood. I thought it was being done in stages.
I think, here's my general thought about trying to do a second Kickstarter on Defense Grid, is that we would just end up asking the same group of people who've already given us a lot of money for more money, and that's not our goal. Our goal was to go as wide as possible, where we have a lot of people give a little bit of money, and as we've learned, it's very hard to get the word out, it's very hard to get press coverage, so I think what we're going to do is stick with you guys on this one, and not try and get more money out of people for Defense Grid on Kickstarter, but rather focus on looking to some other sources to see if we can build this together with 3 different sources of money.
Beat Darwin says, "Oh, we see much more at ease than on the updates. Stay cool." I think the updates we have it scripted out, like we know what topics we want to hit, and we're
Now we're responding to questions.
yeah. Now it's responding to questions and it's
Also,
lot easier.
you go too long on a video and it becomes boring for people, so we try and kind of go through it. And it's
Interactive is easy. Like when you're giving a lecture, you have to plan it out, and it's a lot harder than if you're just talking with somebody. And this is kind of more like just talking with somebody.
Somebody asked about concussion towers. They haven't found their niche. Any tips for concussion tower players?
I love concussion towers.
Oh, they're great at corners. When when aliens come and have to make a U-turn, like around a concussion tower right at the end, and then you put a temporal next to it, and they just stay there.
Yeah,
the whole
concussion
time.
towers actually almost are, you have to use temporal towers with them to get the full value out of them. And that's because if if they were balanced stronger than that, then you'd mix them with a temporal, and they would just dominate all strategies. So I would say that if you're using concussion, like the best place for concussion is a place where the enemies have to walk all the way around them, and then later come all the way back around them, and when there's a temporal nearby. I think the level that concussion towers are introduced and that they're really useful on at the beginning is the Guardian's Fall.
Yeah.
Is that what the name of it is? Yeah.
Guardian's Fall.
Guardian's
But then also the portal,
portal
level.
what is the portal level? Lockdown. Sorry, we have different internal names, so sometimes it's hard to remember what the ones that they went out.
But they're good on any grinder, super grinder modes.
They're great on some of the long level modes. I really like them on Lockdown, actually. That's what my primary one is.
We used to have a blocking tower.
Blocking tower.
Yeah, John, talk about it.
Oh, the blocking tower was dismissed before I got on.
No, we actually were talking about a blocking tower at the beginning, but we wanted to actually make it a more dynamic environment. Like a blocking tower just sits there. And we wanted to have something where when you're placing down, every tower that you place down was useful for mazing and for like animating and showing a cool effect and shooting things.
Remember for a while there was one that the aliens could actually destroy.
Yeah, we actually had ones where the aliens fought back too for some time in the early design.
Yep.
For DG2, we actually are talking about bringing back a blocking like tower, but with some mechanics that actually make it an interesting strategy thing in its own right, rather than just as a cheap replacement for other towers.
I think we haven't commented on some of the design ideas because when we have the user voice forum set up, I think everybody will have a chance to put in their ideas, both for containment and questions about containment, but also for DG2, because for DG2, anything's on the table. We'll talk about anything. We're really interested to hear what your ideas are for new towers, for new blockers, for aliens, for all kinds of things. I mean, you're our backers, and this is the conversation we want to have with you.
Yep, and what I'm basically sharing is kind of what our thoughts have been so far. But since we're doing this through Kickstarter with you guys, I absolutely think that it'll be kind of something we all work on together.
Yeah, we're gonna think about what we think are really good design principles. Like one of the reasons we ended up deciding not to have a tower that aliens destroyed is because we said, look, most of the game is about building stuff, creating stuff. We don't want it to be
you don't want to take
taken
it
away.
Right.
And so kind of we kept with that philosophy, but that doesn't mean we can't find a way to solve a good, interesting thing that maybe the aliens caused some issue, but it doesn't really take it away. There's all sorts of possibilities. You just got to stick true to the game.
Where's our celebratory beer?
Yeah, where is this?
We're spending every dollar on
we can go get sodas out of the defense fridge.
Yeah, exactly. Sodas out of the defense fridge. Are you going to be at the panels or the non-dev part of PAX?
We were at one time talking about being on a panel at PAX that might be associated with a different game, but that ended up not happening. So at the moment, I think we're going to be at the PAX Dev piece, and then we'll be enjoying ourselves at PAX
on the floor,
like you guys will, just seeing the games and having fun.
And say hi if you see
absolutely.
Yeah, we're on.
Now you know what we look like.
Oh no.
Right. We'll wear our defense grid shirts.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I don't know how to pronounce your name. DTG Gnome. I like that.
What was his thing?
A tower like oil or something that increases the damage of other towers.
Yeah. There was design for that, for like power-up towers at one point. You put a tower down and it has an area effect like the command
boosts
tower.
everything.
Yeah, I think command tower was our one decision to go into that.
Well, somebody earlier had suggested Tesla towers that double each other when they're in
in the range of each other.
Yeah, they bonus charge.
Right.
Juggling.
The defense fridge is in the other room, and the cable doesn't go that long.
Yeah.
You saw how long it took us to
I
get
tried
reset
taking
up.
the sign down, but without the backlit that you get in refrigerators, those
really
commercial
see it,
fridges, it doesn't look like anything.
Isn't there still a picture somewhere from the ARG?
Yeah.
We'll post a picture.
We'll post a picture.
Yeah.
So, Meat, actually, you're asking about juggling being an intended feature. We had actually played a bunch of the tower defense games that had juggling, like I think Desktop Tower Defense, that's a big thing that a lot of people do. And what they do is they make it so each time you sell a tower, it takes longer to sell. We were actually playing around with the idea, but because our selling takes quite a bit of time to go down and to build coming back up, when we were actually playtesting, juggling, we decided to leave it in as kind of like a high score seeking thing. I know a lot of players like it and a lot of players don't like it, and we're kind of talking about good ways to address both those players wants, for DG2, where kind of separate gardens.
We think of juggling as a really core feature. We wanted people to be able to play and enjoy the game without having to do juggling.
Yeah.
So it isn't required, but of course the high score competition is all about how you can just really finely manage your cores and aliens. So I think in one of the features we talked about in DG2 with more dynamic levels and switchable levels, that maybe we can, again, make a hybrid solution where it's fun to switch, but you can do that without buying and selling towers.
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is that we could, with the items that we've talked about, we could put the people who want to juggle on different leaderboards than the people who don't want to juggle. Yeah. And then you feel a lot better if everyone kind of getting the same score as you is playing in a similar way as you.
Support towers of the future, we have lots of things that we'll probably talk about. Sorry, I'm just going through real quickly for the show off. Kevon, the first 2 Portal Arc levels are the first 2 levels of U-Monster. We just made the first one look better because it looked pretty ugly on purpose during the Portal Arc.
We were trying to not show that it was
But the gameplay is the same.
Right. It was intentionally ugly. The art
selling limits for specific square. Josh, like a lot of these ideas have been talked a lot about on the Steam forums about how to stop juggling or start juggling. There's 2 questions. One is whether or not juggling is good or juggling is bad. And the other question is if you stop it, what are different methods of it? And I think that it's a tricky case because you have to make sure that any solution that you come up with doesn't create other behavior that is not fun or that you want to avoid. And so I think that there'll be a lot of playtesting and talking about it.
Somebody read a question. You want to scroll back?
There was one about showing scores or comparing scores.
Yeah, we get like a burst of like 12 questions and then it goes quiet for a
I
while.
want a better way to compare scores, to see my score as I play.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the Trials HD
like the
replay.
Trials HD
You know what?
thing, if you could see how you're approaching
Really?
other people.
Yeah, because it's just a display. It's a UI that we turn on and off. We did it for the touch. I think
We chose not to show the score on the UI. We just need
Oh, well, no, that's showing the score, but not showing comparison to a friend.
Oh, no, sorry. I meant like showing the score while you play is something that we
Yeah. We could. So I think we were asked that during the 24-hour thing or something too, and we talked about why we don't show score during play because it gives you a lot of negative feedback. If you build a tower, your score goes down, and that doesn't seem like a good idea. But we could make a toggleable kind of the hardcore who understands turn this on and see.
Show them a whole bunch of detail, but it's that way it stays out of the way for the new
And we
players
could
too.
potentially do that for containment. Yeah, that doesn't seem too bad.
And it's great the design suggestions we're getting. One thing that's nice about user voice, we won't lose any because it's scrolling.
Right.
Everybody will get to,
These will forget.
everybody will get to
Even
put
really
their
good ones.
Hold on to all your things because we're going to ask you to type this in again when we have the tool.
I think Pingy is more correct because blueberries are in season now. I think raspberries still have a couple months. So I'm going to go have blueberries tonight, oatmeal. That was one of the questions.
The most delightful burst of flavor.
I know oatmeal.
Yeah.
His name's Rick.
No, and he helped us with the
Yeah, he's the one who did the cool
videos.
zoom in and out on the snowman.
And I remember the very first time I got the script from the writers.
No longer this chat. Genius lost.
When we got the script from the writers and they added the raspberries thing, we all kind of looked at each other and went, okay. It just added character to Fletcher, and it was kind of fun. But it was really out of left field, I remember when we saw it, too.
Yeah, well, when Dave was talking about...
well, we wanted something idiomatic.
Yeah, we wanted something.
Yeah,
and that's what they came up with.
I think there'll be a log. When it records the movie, does it actually record all the chat as well?
I think it does, actually. I think when you play it back, it plays back the chat.
Oh, that's cool. So after we're done here, it'll show up as a video down at the bottom, I believe. And then it will also have the chat, and you can... it'll play it as as it replays the movie.
That's what I remember seeing when I was watching the video before.
New types of towers. Part of the hard part when we get questions about DG2 now is, especially as we're looking at this user voice and stuff, we have ideas of kind of what we are interested in, but it's only the stuff we've thought of so far. And so I think the user voice will really help open up a lot. So it's hard we can't really commit and say this is the tower that's going to be in DG2 because you guys are going to help us figure out what's the best.
I can talk a little bit about the process that we use inside. I mean, we'll get ideas from you, but sometimes during the concept art jams, is they'll be throwing out ideas for new things that would look cool, and then we'll go, okay, what would be a great gameplay effect? Or we'll have a niche. When Michael laid out the towers initially, each one had a purpose. We went, well, does everything have a niche? Is it an area of effect, or does it work better against shields, or how does this work against swarms of aliens? So we'll try to see, okay, now we need something that fills this role. What would be a good tower for that? And then that's open to everybody's ideas or modifications. For DG2, we'll have what would be the kind of the future of the flame tower, right? What is that going to become? And taking some things that people are familiar with and changing them a little bit to give them new powers or different powers that we didn't know about before.
There's two things here. One is asking if we'll have more color in DG2.
Yes.
And the answer is yes, from the art director. The second question is, do we plan on keeping the camera fixed, or will you be able to pan around? Actually, it's funny, in DG1, part of the reason you can't pan around is because we didn't create the levels outside of the view space. Now in DG2, for the idea for how we're going to create levels that we have, that will be more possible. And so also, Jeff, who makes all of our trailers and movies, did it with a controller with those cheat codes that we open up, and I think that we'll probably be putting in some
better tools for that camera. Yeah, a little bit of camera control.
He got really smooth with operating.
We also found in testing that keeping it fixed was better for a majority of the audience, but just like everything else with DG2, we're thinking about it in a bigger scope than we did for one, so we can always set the defaults to what we think are the best for the larger audience, then we can create options that can open it up for people who have different capabilities. And that's what you're going to see with us with the items.
A few weeks ago, I wrote a flight sim camera for the Defense Grid on the new engine.
We're learning about this at the same
time as you are. Is that something you want to put in?
It's already there. Like,
are you just hooking into DG?
Well, it's in the new engine.
Yeah, I know it.
Okay. I think for the person that asked about color, I think when we move into the DG2 phase, there's so many things that our engine does that will really give us a lot of ability to upgrade and make the graphics more beautiful, more interesting lighting, things like that.
Oh yeah, the color is just one aspect. I mean, the fact is we're going to go to completely different places, and those have to look, new and unique and interesting. We certainly intend to do that.
So somebody had a good suggestion. Was it
show metal progress?
No, Java. Yeah,
oh, that's a good idea.
Show metal progress. So if we show the score, then we should put the metal icon next to it to show what you currently have.
What you currently
have. Would be sad if you backspace.
And the leaderboard entries.
You lose the bronze, gain the bronze, lose the bronze.
Oh. Show you your current leaderboard place. Mm-hmm. That'd be a lot of cool.
That'd be a lot. Yeah.
Every couple, I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
Jim Ward confirmed for DG2. I would say. Yes, in that he was excited to do the video with us. He was excited to record. We just need to have a script and go down and record him, and we probably won't do a script until many of the levels are done. So it'll come late in the process. So as long as Jim is available then, there should be no problem.
One of the features we talked about for DG2 was more than one AI. And we explored that a little bit in U Monster, now where the other AI was GLaDOS. But we've talked about more than one AI personality, what that might be like, or to have two that you are switching between, each of which might have a little bit different personality, and probably only one enjoys raspberries.
Well, one of the things we loved when we were talking about it was, even though GLaDOS and Fletcher never really talked with each other, they play off of what each other said, and that became really fun. And I think we want to see more of that.
Kevon, there is actually a visual indicator when the laser becomes available. The orbital laser up in the top left underneath the core starts glowing when it's available and blinking. DG2, Eyefinity, I don't know yet.
Eyefinity is just supporting
just supporting
screens.
and
since
super wide resolution.
AMD has given us a whole bunch of video cards, I am expecting we will have some.
We just have to figure out what goes there. I guess on Zoom levels you can have the level extend that direction.
I guess we put all the UI off to one side.
Mm-hmm. We thanked
but
all the backers.
But then you have multiple UIs based on resolution.
That's true.
Which is really
That's true.
Yeah.
I think we thanked all the backers. We really wanted to give a big shout out to AMD and Razer.
Oh yeah,
as our hardware backers to really make some of the challenge. I mean, some of the
they helped us make this
They helped us make our goal.
Yeah,
Yep,
without question.
absolutely.
And gave you guys some really great stuff, and they donated that to this cause because they believe in the game. We really think very highly of their products. We like what they do, and so supporting things like the Razer mouse presets, some of their technologies, supporting iFinity, taking advantage of some of the extra speed ups that one can get in AMD cards. Those are all part of our plan for DG2.
And let them know on their Facebook page too. Thank them for their support.
Oh yeah, if you do that, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, going to AMD and Razer and thanking them for their support on their Facebook page would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. And as for Potato's question about endless survival modes, that's kind of the intention behind Grinder. Super Grinder, but we only went so far because of
Eventually,
scripting limitations.
Well, and what got less interesting is once you've built on every tower spot and upgraded your tower, it becomes to putting the most expensive towers on every tower spot and upgrading them fully. And at that point, you can't do anything more really.
There's nothing interesting.
Yeah,
to
there's
do
nothing
anymore.
interesting to do.
But out there, somebody might have a cool idea
That
we
is
haven't
true.
thought of.
You're
And
absolutely
we're
true.
looking forward to that, most of all on the user voice.
Yeah, so the reasoning is we thought you'd run out of interesting decisions. Maybe you have an idea of how you don't run out of interesting decisions.
We want to hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You're
absolutely.
part of the creative process.
But we also will open up and say, here's our idea, here's why we think this. What do you guys think?
Towers that complement each other on the future, possibly, for example, towers that, we talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a few complementary relationships with the existing tower sets.
I do think it's important that all the towers work together as a system.
Right.
That there's not a lot of duplication and that each has a use, because that makes it more actually feel like...
Yeah, we originally had 12 towers, and we
We
actually culled
actually
it
cut
down
to-
a little bit
yeah.
because they were a little bit over redundant.
I think we like multiple ways to win.
Yeah.
So, towers that have interesting combinations always give you more ideas. So, once you've explored the set of towers you have, adding a new tower becomes a different ways to win. So, and we like that, and that'll be a core feature of DG2 as well.
That's funny improvement.
What did he say?
He said, interesting. Ironic that interest is the only thing that remains when you've filled all the tower spots, and yet it's not interesting. Shield-specific tower only damages shields. That's actually the role that we try to put Tesla in for the original game.
It was pretty frustrating, though, when it only did damage on shields, and a lot of shield things didn't come by.
Yeah, I agree.
Entire website dedicated.
Let's see. Dynamic environments. Yeah, that's definitely one of our plans to use.
There's been several questions about what will we do for the old game and what will we do for the new game, and I think that's the balancing act, is that we want to give you the best stuff for the money that we have, and so we want to make sure containment's really good, and we're going to put a lot of work into that, but we also want to make sure that our money really goes into DG2 so that you have a great DG2. So they're two different engines, two different technologies. We don't want to overspend on the original game, so that's where you're going to see a real balancing act from us.
It was AMD, not Power Color.
No, well, Power Color is the company that AMD is getting the cards from.
But AMD is the sponsor.
AMD is the
Yeah.
sponsor, yes.
Random tower. Let's see. There's also things we want to do to make the towers more intelligent. For example, maybe the laser tower is not targeting shields when there's other things to target. Actually, they may do that already.
I think they do, actually.
I think we did make them do that.
Which one?
Laser towers don't target shields if there's other things to
No,
target.
they will.
They will if
Yeah.
the shield's in front.
It's shield in front.
Yeah. Let's see. Weather effects or earthquakes. Any
there are
chance
some-
that containment will come to the Xbox at some point?
I bet that what we'll do is we'll build it for the PC first, and then we'll probably talk with the Xbox people and see where we're at. As a lot of people know, the things kind of got out of whack on the Xbox just after U-Monster with the new Dash update, and our efforts to work with Microsoft to try and get them fixed. And some of the people at Microsoft were really trying to help us, but some of the folks at Microsoft didn't want to mess up what they had going, and so they weren't as interested in helping. And so I don't want to spend a lot of time to put something up there that may still be broken for you. So what we're really focused on right now is the PC, and if we can make things work great on Xbox, we definitely will, but we probably won't spend a lot of time there if we can't be sure it'll be a great experience for you.
I think as an indie developer, we don't have too much control of our destiny on Xbox. Xbox, we always hope for the best, and we have great friends over at Xbox. But it's kind of at somebody else's decision whether we can be on the platform with additional content. So it's always an ask, and we hope for the best. But on PC, we can deliver. So that's why the Kickstarter was all about.
In working with Steam, it's amazing. They keep giving us more and more and more control of our own ability to enhance the product. We can now put out patches ourselves. We don't have to go through them, even. It's amazing.
Which we've been doing.
Yeah, for this last week.
Counted on that for Kickstarter.
Yeah. And that has not necessarily been the trend on the Xbox side.
G-Crack, I think, was about even until the new Dash, and now it's much higher on Steam.
Yeah. No, straight.
No, I'm just, yes,
Yes.
we commented on that a number of times.
Once the new
we have
Dash,
opinions.
Once the new Dash came, it was amazing. A lot of people didn't find games anymore.
I wasn't judging, just
No. I was just going,
Yeah, I agree.
Let's see. Map Editor, Steam Workshop. Our plan is to look at Steam Workshop for that. We'll actually pick what's best, but
It's a good candidate.
Yeah, it's a good candidate.
We think it's an exciting technology. We're really energized by people's ability to rate content, create content, and we definitely want to tap into both the social aspect and to make things technically easy to just get levels, try levels, and rate levels.
Absolutely.
Michael, Kevin wants to know why we updated just a few hours
It was
ago.
because there was a bug in DG2 Hero that was patched.
And I think, did you also add, or was that yesterday when we added this extra save point for...
The save point was yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. For Defennsylvania. Let's see. The bug was that on DG2 Hero, if you tapped a button fast enough, it would sometimes register multiple times for a single note, and
give you extra points.
And give you extra points, and that's fixed now. For your information, I did not exploit the bug. Any more mini games going on? I need to get some sleep, and then I'll probably start working on DG2. So probably not for a little while. I'm glad you enjoyed them, though.
Yeah, but we'll keep them there. They'll stay there.
Yeah, they'll be accessible as
Somebody's
thanks
asking.
to our backers.
Yeah, you should still be able to play Defennsylvania. We'll stick it up. We'll have a community tab in the DG dashboard where the contest is right now, and it should be a link off of that.
He likes that phrase, no sleep, more gun towers.
Will you reset the leaderboards for it? We probably will for like Alien Breeder when we put it up. I don't know what exactly the details of are for that yet.
And when we have the user voice up, if you've got comments or suggestions for the mini games too, we never know. We're going to have a few extra hours when we start doing containment to go. Oh, well, let's we'll add a new song, or we'll add a new kind of Alien and Alien Breeder or something to kind of keep those going. So we're interested in your suggestions for the whole title.
Yeah, TJ's probably up for another song.
Why don't you get TJ? We're in
Ramo. Defennsylvania. Well, our test lead, Mark, actually did all of the audio for the game, which was really helpful, and then I did the design and programming for it. And art, ASCII art, because that's about the level of my art skills. Here, we'll introduce you to the sound designer for Defennsylvania.
Oh, I'm sitting down now. Yes, you are. Now you're stuck. See, here's the other shoe dropping.
No, you won't be disqualified for the DG2 Hero high score. We're just going to take we'll include all of the top 100 high scores plus the top 100 non-cheated high scores in our drawing, and it will work out. You won't be disqualified. Defennsylvania took probably about 100 hours to make. I did it over while I was sick at home and over some weekends.
So Mark Shoemaker.
Oh yeah.
Mark Shoemaker, not only lead test for all the games at Hidden Path, but also a sound designer for many of our little products.
Thanks, Shay.
And
sorry, I was just saying goodbye. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. See you. Yeah. Sorry, I completely shut you down.
No, it's fine.
How many marks are there here? There's a bunch of marks.
Yeah.
Right? So
there's a bunch of Marks, a bunch of Matts, and a bunch of Johns.
So they just call me
and
Shannon.
Michaels. And Michaels. Yes. And then TJ. There's only one TJ.
You should recognize him. He was featured prominently in the ASCII art for DG2 Hero. You should recognize his
Special
hairline.
Yes. Oh, you're
I know.
I don't even see the code anymore. All I see is TJ.
I wondered if that had been
Keyboard
composited
sounds.
in. I was like going, huh. I didn't-
No, I actually had it printed out. I like slapped it onto the front of my drum.
That was cool.
We actually got a
clappy.
request of how could I get a drum head made just like that one, and we had to explain that we didn't get that one made.
Well, you know what? We could put a digital file up at least, and people
Yeah.
can make their own.
Sure.
Center, that's on our plan. It'll probably come after PC. And Kiavan, maybe. We don't know yet. We've been talking
what
about
were their
something.
questions?
Will DG2 be coming to Linux? And can you port the code to the Pennsylvania to a real console application?
Wow.
See, we should just release our own little console app that we can just write mini games for every week. And you charge like 25 cents to download a new mini game.
The new business models.
There you go.
Steve Kramer already volunteered to do the map for Pennsylvania 1.5. So,
All right.
yeah.
But I think...
DLC for Pennsylvania. Is there any ways to donate after the Kickstarter ended?
We're going to get something up. We started thinking about PayPal, but we found that there were some problems with PayPal, so we're looking into other methods. They seem to be doing fine with some Kickstarters and also causing problems for other Kickstarters, and we're not sure which one we would fall in, so we'd like to not have problems.
The picture back there that they think is a giant gerbil
It's not a giant gerbil.
It's not a giant gerbil, but just some artwork we have up on the wall from a game we were working on.
Yep.
For just a second so you can see a little better.
Okay.
See,
Doesn't seem
it doesn't show up any better now.
No, not really.
It's just out of focus.
It just is
Yeah.
out of focus because the stream is not awesome. Let's see.
We can put that art up too.
Yeah, we should. We should start making a list.
I understand it's a joy to do on-the-fly updates. However, I'm not the only person who gets perturbed when there's a patch and no update notes to go with it. So the update notes, it's weird because we can do patches however much we want, but the update notes we actually have to mail to Steam and wait for them to post them. I hope that someday that will change, but that's kind of why we have done it less. But you're right, we probably should be better about that.
Is it a console button we could do?
No, we have to email.
Actually, what we should do is put
Just
the...
put it in like content.
Oh,
Oh!
We
And
could
have a
just
button
we should just
with
put in
just our
content.
patches.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a great idea.
That's actually probably a better idea. It's still good to put them up on the Steam notes, but that's Mark.
It was design section 2. You were
Yeah.
live design 2.
Patch notes in the game, little window.
Defense Grid Ninja hamsters. Tower that shoots hamsters. Yeah, we're winding down, aren't we?
You're into tower shooting hamsters.
Oh, post
on one of the
post the
aliens.
update notes on the Steam forums. That's also a good idea. We should. I post usually when there's an update to fix something, but I'll post it in the relevant thread so not everybody can see it. And I probably should just have a patch notes thing that constantly gets updated.
I like the hamster tower idea. We can have a tower that shoots eagles to counter the tower.
The tower
hamster
that does.
That's right.
It's all about balance.
And then the level 3 does guinea pigs.
You launch the hamsters
or
at the
the aliens
flyers.
could be hamsters.
That's what I was thinking.
Eagle towers, right.
Yeah.
Can we get real PC mouse pointer control for tower selection instead of console style push to move? So with edge scrolling is what you're asking for?
I think so. We've gotten edge scrolling questions before.
Yeah, we've gotten edge scrolling. We were actually wanted to try something new just because Mark worked on Age of Kings. He was the lead designer for Age of Kings, and he had stories about edge scrolling, and so we were trying to see if there was a
Very
way to-
bad stories.
Yeah, we wanted to keep it as simple as possible.
But it's, again,
But it's
user voice.
Yeah, exactly. User
that.
voice. If that's the thing that's the priority,
If
then
people want
that's
to try it, dual modes is not unheard of. So
Yeah.
we'll try. If it's super popular, we'll try anything.
I think
No,
what you'll
somebody
see.
says they like that it's not edge scrolling. So there's multiple voices, but having options is
I
good
think
too.
what you'll see is that there'll be way too many ideas, more than we could ever put into the game.
Some of
And
which
the
will
thing that'll be
contradict.
cool about user voice is helping us prioritize them. So if really 2 different mice input to you is far more important than these other features, then we know that, and then we can decide, okay, let's put our resources there, and that's what's really exciting to us.
Joey actually has a good one, which is not playfield scroll, but the actual tower menu. And I think the reason we didn't do that at the beginning was that there was like some interaction between trying to make it so that the mouse worked and keyboard worked and snap the cursor.
It felt wrong because without the edge scrolling, technically your mouse cursor is in the center of the screen all the time. And so every time you'd build, the mouse cursor would be in the middle and you'd have to drag it
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
it would jump
Or
over.
we'd have to move it for
Or
you.
something would happen and you try to move
Something
off
would
the edge of the
happen,
screen and it wouldn't work.
And we tried it for a while. It was actually really confusing and harder to use.
User voice sounds too good to be a Microsoft product. Are there no downsides?
It's not a Microsoft product.
not a Microsoft product.
It's a company out of Silicon Valley, I think, that makes this product, and it's it's basically a voting forum system that lets you have a bunch of ideas. And we're excited about how we've used it so far, and we're going to give it a try and see what we like and don't like about it when using it with you.
And it's with points, so it's kind of a little game in itself to get your ideas boosted up.
So one of the questions is, what were the towers that were cut from DG1? So originally we had this concept of fire damage and electric damage, and fire damage would hurt the kind of humanoid or the organic aliens, and mechanical. Yeah, electric would hurt mechanical, and we had 4 tower, and physical was split between the
And
two.
the aliens were more clearly organic or mechanical.
Right, or mix in some cases.
And there were 4 towers in each category, and there was kind of like a single direct damage, short range. There was a short range tower, a mid range tower, a long range tower, and a very long range tower in each of those categories. And as we were doing it, the different damage types for different aliens was just confusing all of our playtesters, and they weren't quite sure what towers were good against what. And so we kind of switched about halfway through to this philosophy of anything that makes a tower good against an alien needs to be visible without UI. So that's why, like, you can see that the laser hits the shields and doesn't go through and stuff like that. And I actually think that it made the entire game a lot more clear. I think that going forward to DG2, that still will be a kind of philosophy that I think is really important, which is that anything that you have, you should be able to see visually what it's doing and what's doing more damage or less.
And one thing you'll find as being part of the design process is our games get really good because we cut things. It's paring down to things that are just the most fun, just the most interesting, is part of the design process, and it's hard to do at the time when you go, I kind of really was hoping for more time to make that work, but really that's how we get good games.
Yeah, I mean, from all these guys, you'll hear it from Mark, you'll hear it from Dave. Sculpting is probably an analogy that shows up more often.
Yep.
You're cutting away to
It's
make
what
a really
you
good
take away
game.
that makes great art.
That's a cool idea. Leveling towers, that as they kill enemies, that they automatically level up or
That's
upgrade.
really
That's
good
actually
idea,
a really cool idea.
Gain experience.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. You should make
Have
sure
RPG.
make sure to user voice that one.
Please, you remember.
Yeah.
We'll forget.
I'm not going to remember anything that
We're
happens
on
today.
camera. We
Yeah.
remember nothing.
Well, it's also in user voice. You'll kind of get, you'll get a little bit of fame there as your ideas. It'll feel pretty cool if you get your idea in there. A bunch of people back it, and we go, all right, we're going to put that in DG2. And you go, that was my contribution. That was, all of us together refining that idea.
Yep.
So there were a lot of
Enemies
that were
cut. We originally had 20, I think, and then we removed some now.
What I remember was we had, like, the Spire gives shields to everything. There used to be an enemy that would heal all the aliens.
And there'd be an alien that would heal
I
itself.
hated that one
And it
so
heal
much.
itself.
There was aliens that healed themselves, and the way it worked basically as a mechanic is they would regenerate, but then if they'd been hit by damage, like a cannon or gun tower or something, they would stop healing for a while and then start healing again. So that rapid fire towers were more effective against them than single burst.
I think that they went because you couldn't see that happening.
Yeah, well, and they also, I think the stealth ones ended up having the same towers that were good against them. And
Yeah, it wasn't clear.
And there was one that came in like that it like would crash land, and then a bunch of aliens would
come out.
of it.
Ooh.
That actually turned
And it
into the
became the
turtle.
turtle.
It became the turtle. Originally,
Yeah.
the turtle was a flying alien.
Fire that would,
Yep.
There's a good one there.
Okay.
For
Green
towers. Let's see.
Yeah, so who
Who's
gets to
playing
play
for Green
2
Tower?
minutes?
Is that me or John? One of us came up with, like, the Green Towers only idea. I don't remember who it was.
I don't remember. It was one of... Yeah, it was you or
Green
John.
Tower.
What happens is you get these conversations like this where someone comes up with either the idea or part of an idea, then someone says something, and you can't remember whose it was,
Right.
and that's perfectly fine.
I think Green Towers only was like an in-game challenge, like a challenge around the office.
Around the office,
On
yeah.
Crash Ship.
It was
Right.
around the office. We
Or, sorry,
we tried to
Out of
see,
Fuel.
Yeah, Out of Fuel.
We had a challenge in the office of who could beat a level with only green towers, and
Yeah.
we turned it into a real mode.
That's like
I think the first, we didn't have challenge modes at first. The
Yeah.
first one I remember is there was a competition to see who could beat a level with the
With the
fewest,
fewest
number,
number of towers.
fewest number of
We
towers.
did focal point.
That was the
Yeah.
laser.
Brian.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Brian...
Brian, who you saw earlier, was the one who had the record, and everyone was always trying to beat Brian's record, and then Brian would beat Brian's record before he went home.
Right.
It was really frustrating.
Eventually learned how to win it with no towers at all.
He just intimidated the aliens to death.
I think at the time we were off demoing the early version of Defense Grid for some of the press, and Jeff would get a text, it's 7 towers now. And so in between breaks, we would be furious trying to beat the office
So
record.
then all those got
with a
added
new
as challenge modes
Well,
plus new ones.
when we found the bug that had the cannon towers firing twice, like it shattered those records.
Right.
But,
Yes.
but that's why its 10 tower limit on focal point was the original challenge mode.
Are we getting close to out of time?
Yeah, I think
Somebody
we're
flashed.
going to be wrapping up here in the next.
Okay,
10
5
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, by 4. Let's see.
Yeah.
Colorblind mode. I actually have this problem too. The yellow and the green are difficult for me to tell apart. This is one of the kind of tough things that Dave can probably talk more on design is you want the game to be colorful and pretty, but you also want to be able to quickly identify exactly what each tower is and its level and what it does. And that's a really hard constraint to work with.
Yeah, I have some ideas for making color less dependent. I tried to work with Michael because I'm not colorblind and he is, and so I would ask him, can you tell the difference between these? And we tried to tune it as best, but I'm sure in a number of ways we failed. So we did our best, and I have some ideas for how to improve it on the next version.
I think one thing... Are we still on?
Yeah.
I think one area that, having accessibility challenges, having a broad number of backers that we have, is people do have different challenges, and we'd be interested, especially to hear from you, what would make the game easier for you to play, what are your ideas, best in class for making the game more accessible for you and people with accessibility challenges.
Bye, Kevin.
Please.
Are those towers discarded tower designs? Somebody was asking. They said they look like tower designs that we didn't end up using.
When we did original concept stuff and we're just playing around with what various things would look like, they were, they could have been towers, they could have been sculptures, they could have been any number of things. When you start off, you're really playing with just fundamental shapes and things without even giving them a justification for what they are. So they eventually evolved away from being towers. We also looked at, are there going to be alien towers? And we thought, maybe that's what they would look like. But the game never went in that direction that we have seen so far.
That's right.
I think that the one on the left would make a good alien.
Okay, well, let's go with that.
I think one thing you'll see being more involved in the creative process is some of the steps that we go through when we develop towers, when we develop the look of something, that it's sometimes a lot of steps, and there's a lot of creative collaboration that we normally just do inside the studio. But we'll be looking forward to posting the early designs and silhouettes for towers and getting your reaction to which ones look the coolest or might be the most fun.
Yeah, it's been fun for me showing some of the concept stuff, because oftentimes a lot of that stuff, as we all said, with towers or aliens, it winds up getting thrown away for the final game because it just doesn't fit. And so it's been kind of fun to let people in on some of the stuff that often gets refined to, it shows up in some form in the final game, but not in the form that we originally see it. And so those towers would be an example of something that showed up, but not exactly as they were originally designed.
I think you'll have to be like us and sometimes tough it out when a favorite thing gets cut, but that's just part of the process.
It is part of the process.
And we'll use your input too
right.
when we're making those decisions.
Sacred cows become hamburgers.
So there are two things here. Aliens that can attack towers as they pass. We actually talked about this too, but there's a lot of choices for pace in a tower defense game. You can have one where you're sitting there and clicking on the aliens as fast as you can to help out the towers, or you have to sit there and go back and repair your towers that have been hurt. And we kind of decided for more of a puzzly strategy, sit-back pace where the goal was to sit and think about what you're going to do and have something interesting to watch rather than making it more action-y. And we have ideas in DG2 how to create more of a hybrid where you can choose how you play, and we'll share those and do the user voice thing for those. But that's kind of the story for...
Some of the lean-back features that people have been asking for on the forums prior to this was the idea of being able to mark future spots as places I want to build, or put down a line for where you want the path to be and where you have to put
and seeing where aliens can walk is a good one.
Yeah.
More annotation stuff.
It's cool to annotate the level as you play. It's like, I know I want to build something here later.
Here's my plan.
Yeah, and you bring up your animation
Here's my
tools.
blue post-it note.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you plan on trying to reach a larger mass of players than just your tower defense fans? And if so, what do you plan for doing that? That's like a media question. That's like
No, but it's a heck of a question.
It is.
I think what we found is that when we made the original Defense Grid, We decided to go right after a core audience because downloadable games at the time were really casual for the most part, and we thought there was this real opportunity, and we agreed, it worked out, but we were surprised actually how wide the number of people who liked the gameplay was. So I think, you know, we keep the game so that it's still very accessible, still very easy to play. You know, right now you can play with a mouse and one button, or a controller, a single stick and a button, and I think that's going to remain. We're going to still want it so that you can play it in a very easy way. And then I think Dave's been thinking a lot about how to make the art even, you know, open itself up to a wider audience. We know really wide audiences go see sci-fi, they go see adventure, they go see comic book movies, but you make the art for those properties in a different way than you do when you're just going for the hardcore. So we're thinking a lot about that for the sequel.
I think one thing the Kickstarter experience has done for us is really point out the value of having both our core audience and then your set of friends that you've brought in. We're really thankful for all the people that have been newly exposed to the Defense Grid games because you've shared your enjoyment. So we know that you know, continuing to work on audience participation in terms of both our backers, but how to bring in more people is good for this game and the other games we do. As an indie, we survive because, you know, we have core fans that will share our message. We can't afford big marketing programs. We can't afford to buy shelf space, you know, at retail. Those are all things that the big publishers will do, and then they want to own your game for that.
Yep. It's kind of weird because us as a studio have kind of like the half indie. How we make our own games is very, very indie, and then we have the more professional side, which is when we're working with publishers, and we're juggling those constantly, I think. Right. You're welcome for all the ARGs and mini games. They're really fun to make. I think we have to close down now, actually. We're going to close the end.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. But thank you guys very much. This has been amazing. The last 5 weeks have been like nothing else I've experienced.
Come up, be on camera for this.
Yeah,
Come on, everybody. Yeah,
I'll take it
on
on
camera.
Hey!
We're going to grab it.
We'll be back.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. This has been a really, really fun experience, and I hope we... And please stay in contact. We want this to continue past just this
rounding
Kickstarter.
people up so we can see everybody in the...
We're going to grab everybody from... Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here.
Yeah, we'll scoot... Oh, wait, no, we shouldn't scoot forward because that...
No.
Then we'll just be
Maybe
bigger.
we should scoot back.
Yeah, everybody's in the picture behind me. Promise. Here, I'll slow out.
Somebody jump. We can see people back there. We just have to kind of duck, I think.
It actually picks up without the light pretty well. When there's a light, there's a huge hot spot on the beginning where it blurs out.
Right, but if we get down here, then they can see the people behind us.
Should I turn the lights on? Does that help?
Yeah, well, there.
No, I was about to, but I think not.
I have a big head.
I think you don't want
There you
to.
go.
No, you don't want to.
All right.
So many Johns.
Short anyway.
Yeah. Oh, that was the blast.
The light.
No.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for backing us.
Yay.
Bye. You're awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, AMD.
Thanks, Razor. Thanks, Kickstarter.
Thank you.
Kickstarter's right.
Kickstarter crew. Thanks, everybody.
Is that close it?
Yeah, that's just stuff.
Oh, no, up here.
Yeah.
So we just close this?
It's pretty good stuff.
Yeah, just so